What's going on, Bears Nation? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. I'm one of your hosts here, Haize, holding it down for C-Dub and Bobby, giving you another episode of Chicago Bears Daily. On today's episode, we'll be going over Darnell Mooney's candid comments about the end of Matt Nagy's era and how it compares to Eberflus coming in on Red Line Radio. We'll also be asking the question can Darnell Mooney turn into the wide receiver that many of us hope and think he's ready to be? We'll also go into Justin Fields being named by Nate Davis as the biggest offseason loser. We'll get into all that and more in today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, Bears Nation. So, jumping right in, Darnell Mooney was on Red Line Radio. He was asked about Eberflus, and then at the end of this interview, he was asked about how that compared to Matt Nagy. So we're going to start off with his comments about Eberflus there and how that then contrasts with the end of the Matt Nagy era. So he says this. He was asked about the difference between Matt Nagy or Matt Nagy coming in. He says, everyone knows what to do and where to go. It's more organized. Coach Eberflus is a chill guy. He's a coach's coach, a true head coach, and makes sure everyone is organized. Now, this falls in line with everything that we've heard. When you look at just the way that Eberflus has come in, the way that he's changed the culture so far, trusting in young players, whereas Nagy did not, things like that. You're hearing a lot of praise for both Matt Nagy. No praise for Matt Nagy. You're hearing a lot of praise for Eberflus and Luke Getsy and what they're doing coming in and just their focus on setting certain standards and also just working in what they want to do with this team. And everybody it seems like every player knows what this coaching staff wants to do, and they're trying to find out how they fit in it. And this coaching staff is giving everyone a chance to succeed, and a chance to just show that they belong to get minutes. They deserve to earn that chance at playing on this team. Now, towards the end of the interview, he was asked about the last few weeks under Matt Nagy. Let's keep there. And he said this comment. This is Darnell Mooney. Let's get this over with and fast forward to January. It's hard to have a good mindset when you keep losing like that every week. Now, that is you don't usually hear political correct answers from players. And I like that Darnell Mooney is just being honest and candid in how he feels, not only about Eberflus coming in, but also about the end of the Matt Nagy era. And we know, listen, we've called it here Nagyitis. You know, every player is going to get that boost from just Matt Nagy not being there and having hopefully a more competent offense. But then we're going to ask this, based off Darnell Mooney's comments, how ready do you think Darnell Mooney is to take that next leap? He's coming into the season as the clear number one option for Justin Fields. We've talked about the chemistry him and Justin Fields have built over this offseason and a little bit last season as well, and how that can help them get the best out of both of them, as Justin Fields is set out to really show that he is the quarterback that we all believed that he can be. And Darnell Mooney's trying to come in and set that tone that he is the clear number one wide receiver, and he's ready to take that next leap. When you hear about Bears fans, and, you know, I've done it here, talk about DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, things like that. And yes, we of course want to see this team improve. It doesn't seem like they're going to go after it. It's going to be Velus Jones, Byron Pringle, Darnell Mooney. That's going to be who this offense is focused around, at least unless they make any all of a sudden moves, but it really doesn't seem like they're going to be bringing anybody else in. So Darnell Mooney being ready to take that next step is going to be huge for him, is going to be huge for this team. And if he shows that he's ready to do that, you know, it can really transform or jumpstart this offense. Are they still going to have to add another wide receiver next season? Absolutely. I don't foresee anybody stepping up to where that doesn't become one of the main things that the Bears need to focus on next year in the draft. But with that being said, it's going to make it a lot easier on the fit and what type of player are you looking to put next to Darnell Mooney, as long as he shows that he's ready to make that next leap. I'm going to present this to you guys. Do you think Darnell Mooney is a true number one, or even if it's not a number one, all right? Let's say that we need another wide receiver just as good as Darnell Mooney for this Bears offense, or maybe a little bit better for this Bears offense and for Justin Fields to really take off. But do you think he takes that next step? Do you think that it goes from him being looked at as a really good wide receiver to a true threat out there and somebody who Bears fans and everybody else really takes notice of? It seems like he's prepped to take that next step along with Justin Fields. And if they both can take that next step in the next season, it's going to be really big as the Bears head into the offseason, things like that. So let me know what you guys think about that down below. Now, the next thing, we talked about Darnell Mooney. We talked a little bit about Justin Fields. We're going to go into that a little bit more. So Nate Davis with USA Sports Today named Justin Fields as one of the biggest offseason losers. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of his comments as well. He says, can you name his left tackle? How about a wide receiver aside from Darnell Mooney? If you knew him, know who the Bears' new offensive coordinator is. Have you heard of Matt Eberflus? Hint, he's Chicago's hard-charging, defensive-oriented rookie head coach. Anywho, that's one way to support a quarterback coming off a rocky rookie campaign. So this is the thing, right? And this is where I get a little bit, like, I understand the pessimism. I understand the fact that the Bears have a lot to prove. I understand even that Justin Fields has a lot to prove. But it really taking a look, and I think that the national media critique, we've talked about Pro Football Focus and them ranking the Bears as one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think we were like 28th or something like that. Ranking Justin Fields is 25th as far as the best quarterbacks. Like, there's a lot of I don't want to necessarily call it shade, but a lot of pessimism, a lot of doubt that's being thrown the Chicago Bears way. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have it any other way. This is Chicago, right? I would not have it any other way. While, yes, our offensive line, we don't have any big names on there. We have possibly 3 rookies who are going to be starting on our offensive line. Do we have any of those big names? Are our wide receivers proven? No, we do not. But listen, that is almost why I'm willing to bet on this team a little bit more. Again, I'm not saying that the Bears are going to shock the world, win a bunch of games, make the playoffs, or do a big push, even win the division. I'm not necessarily saying that. But a lot of the pessimism that we're seeing with the Chicago Bears so far, I do think that this Chicago Bears team is going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think those questions on Justin Fields are going to be answered. I think any questions about Darnell Mooney is going to be answered. And I also think there are a lot of these, with the trust that this coaching staff has had in this rookie offensive line so far, the 3 people who have been on the offensive line practicing with the first team, the faith that they've shown so far, I think we're going to see one of those 2 players, if not all 3, stick around and show, no, they deserve to be here, and how that makes things easier and how the Bears need to build going forward. Is it maybe it be a rocky start to the season? Absolutely. Are the Bears going to win some games that maybe had they not had a rookie head coach, had Justin Fields been a little bit more poised and more seasoned, are we going to lose maybe a game that we should have won or could have won? Absolutely is going to happen over the course of the season. We're, as fans, going to be looking and questioning some things ourselves. But guess what? Like I said, this is Chicago. This is Chicago. And you can keep doubting this Bears team all you want. I want all this, every bit of headlines that you can give, anything that you can give the Bears to sit there and point out to and say, look, they doubted us. Give it all to us. Give it all to us. This is the same thing I was saying about the Bulls at the start of the season. Bring all your doubt towards us. Bring all your shade. Bring everything, all the pessimism. Bring it all to us. And I guarantee you we're going to answer some of those questions. Again, not all of them. I'm not saying we're going to win a ton of games, right? But I guarantee you some of the questions that are here, some of the doubt that's here, especially around Justin Fields, is going to be answered. Now, the one thing that I could say, bring for the nature of conversation and also to be fair, is there a lot of question marks on this team? Yes. Has the front office, at least from the outside looking in, done enough for Justin Fields? I can understand those questions. Do you guys have those type of questions? Or do you have major questions around if this front office has done enough for the development of Justin Fields? But one thing that I will say, doubting that rookie head coach, Matt Eberflus, who seems to have everything together, and we'll see if it continues, doubting Luke Getsy, the offensive head coordinator, keep doing it, because what they're building here and the culture that we're building here in Chicago is the first step. That is the first step. We needed a culture change. We needed a palate cleanser. We needed all of that. And it seems like those things are going in the right direction. So if you want to doubt it, go ahead. I understand it, whether that's a Bears fan doubting it, whether that's somebody from the national media doubting it, go ahead. Go ahead. Because I guarantee you, some of those question marks, some of those doubts, when you look at Brisker and Gordon and what they project to be in that starting secondary and what they could be for the Bears' future. Listen, again, I'm not saying that success is we're going to see all the fruits of that this season, but that seed has been planted this season. The seed of the culture change has been planted. The seed of our future secondary has been planted. The seed in improving Justin Fields with a better offense built around him and a competent offense that's not run like Matt Nagy playing Madden is going to improve. That's going to plant those seeds that hopefully we see bear the fruit of in the upcoming year. So I'm going to ask you guys this to end this show and to end it. I know I'm getting a little passionate here because I love the Bears, but to end it, what grade are you giving the Chicago Bears for their offseason this year? Whether you want to grade it on a curve because of everything that had to be done, the amount of draft capital that the former front office has given up, whether you just want to grade it straight up for your expectations. I want to hear from you guys down below. What grade do you give the Chicago Bears offseason? Sound off and give a reason why. Give a reason why. We'll probably also put it up as a poll in the community tab if you're on the YouTube side. If you're on the podcast side, please email in to us your grade for the Bears offseason, and who do you think is going to step up big time and answer some of these questions from the national media when it comes to the Chicago Bears in the upcoming season? Let me know all of that, and I'll go ahead and plug the email at the end of this show, but make sure you're following the show at Chi Bear Central on every social media platform. You can send in those feedback, questions, comments, concerns, and the answers to this question at chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail to sound off on your thoughts on anything said in this episode, the number to do so is 773-270-2799. Thank you for tuning in to Chicago Bull Central, the daily edition. We keep bringing it. You can follow me personally if you want to at CEO Haize, the CEO Haize. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bear down. I'll see you lovely and beautiful people tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.